Don't even think about showing your face at Dad's 50th, you're an embarrassment. That's what my sister said to me, right after I'd spent nearly $9,700 covering everything for the event. You make $18 an hour and you actually think you matter? She added, her voice soaked in mockery. No face, no party? Fine by me. I smiled to myself as I canceled the venue, shut down the catering, nixed the decorations, and locked every account they'd been using. Within just a few hours, my phone lit up with over 100 missed calls, guests freaking out left and right. Don't you dare show up at Dad's 50th, Jason. Jessica's voice sliced through the silence like a knife. She didn't even let me say hello before throwing that at me. I wasn't surprised. Honestly, that's how most of our talks had gone lately, if you could even call them talks. You're a disgrace to this family, she hissed, the words dripping with the usual venom. $18 an hour and you actually believe you deserve a seat at the table? Pathetic. I clenched my jaw, but I didn't respond. Over time, I'd learned that in our family, words weren't just words, they were weapons. And Jessica? She was always locked and loaded. You don't belong at the country club, Jason, she pressed on. You'll just humiliate Dad. All his friends are gonna be there, people with actual jobs. Real success. Not some nobody in IT living paycheck to paycheck. I shut my eyes, letting the words hit like they always did. That familiar burn in the gut. The quiet kind of shame. That subtle reminder that no matter how hard I tried, it was never good enough for them. But something inside me shifted this time. This wasn't just the usual sting. Jessica, I said, my voice low and steady, I paid for every bit of this party. The venue. The food. The decor. Nearly 10 grand. All of it, out of my own pocket. She laughed. Actually laughed. That same nasty, condescending laugh I'd heard since we were little kids. Oh, come on. You should be grateful we even let you cover it, she scoffed. You think money buys you a place at the table? No, Jason. You're the help. That's all you've ever been. No face. No party. Her words bounced around in my head like fists. And honestly, this wasn't new. I'd been the glue for years, holding everything together, paying their bills, sacrificing my time, my peace, my money. And every time, I'd tell myself, maybe this time, they'll finally see me as one of them. But they never did. I let out a slow breath, trying to keep the heat down inside me. But something was either falling apart, or finally coming together. I smiled, not because anything was funny, but because I'd finally made my decision. No face? Fine. Then no party. I repeated it to myself, almost like a vow. No face. No party. Then I hung up. What Jessica didn't realize, what none of them saw coming, was that this time, I wasn't just going to suck it up. This time, I was done playing their game. This time, they were about to see just how much control I really had. For years, I thought I was doing the right thing by helping. But now I see the truth. I wasn't helping. I was enabling. Feeding a beast that only grew hungrier. It started small. It always does. Jessica had always been the favorite, the golden child, the shining one. And me? I was just Jason. The dependable one. The one who cleaned up the messes, sent the money, kept my mouth shut. But Jessica? She was a master manipulator. She knew exactly how to work a room. Last year, after yet another breakup and losing yet another job she swore wasn't her fault, the financial drama started up again. She called me in tears, saying she couldn't cover her credit card bills. Jason, I wouldn't ask if it wasn't serious. I'm really trying. Life's just been unfair lately. So I paid. Like I always did. But behind my back? She was spinning a different story. I started noticing it when Aunt Susan suddenly stopped calling me back. Then Uncle Greg got short with me in the group chat, one-word answers. Even Mom's texts started to feel distant, like I'd done something wrong and didn't know it. At first, I chalked it up to bad timing, thought maybe folks were just busy. But then I saw it. A message I was never meant to see. My cousin Matthew accidentally forwarded a screenshot from another group chat. Jason's not okay, Jessica had written. He's been stealing from me for months. We're worried. He's jealous of our success. He's trying to tear this family apart. There was. In black and white. She was poisoning them against me. I sat there, stunned, unable to breathe. Stealing? I was the one keeping her afloat. But it didn't stop there. A few weeks later, things blew up again. My dad called me out of the blue, and his voice was cold, unfamiliar. Son, we need to talk. Jessica told us everything. If you're struggling, just say so. But dragging your sister down? That's crossing a line. I tried to explain. I really did. I told them the truth, that I'd been covering Jessica's messes for years. But they didn't want to hear it. Then Mom jumped in with that old line of hers. Why would Jessica lie? She's your sister. Family doesn't lie. They always leaned on that phrase. Family doesn't lie. Like it was gospel. But deep down, we all knew better. Because in our family, lying was practically a tradition. Then came the fake proof. I still don't know exactly how she pulled it off. Maybe she used some cheap phone app or got help from one of her tech-savvy friends. But somehow, Jessica managed to put together fake screenshots. Text messages that looked like I'd threatened her. Demanded money. Called her horrible things I never said. She even brought audio files. Recordings of my voice, all spliced together, chopped from old voicemails and conversations. In one clip, it sounded like I was yelling, Yomi, you're worthless. Words I had never said, ever. But the audio had been edited so well, the timing, the tone, everything, it almost felt real. And for my parents? That was all they needed. That was enough. You need help, Jason, my dad told me during one of our final phone calls. We won't let you destroy Jessica's life any further. So I hung up. Right then and there. And that's when it hit me. They didn't want the truth. They just wanted someone to blame. And Jessica handed them their villain on a silver platter. Meanwhile, the party planning rolled on without me. Jessica took over completely. She posted constant updates on Facebook, photos of the venue, fancy flower arrangements, cake samples. Every single post ended with some sugary caption like, all for Dad. I spared no expense, because family is everything. And of course, the comments rolled in. You're amazing, Jess. Your brother could learn a thing or two. I watched it all from the sidelines, my own family cheering her on like I didn't even exist. Like I hadn't sunk nearly 10 grand into the party they now claimed was all her doing. But she messed up. She left a digital trail. And I had it all. Every single receipt had my name on it. The wire transfers. The invoices from the caterer, the florist, the event planner. All of it traced right back to me. I saved everything. Screenshots, emails, texts, bank records. Every single lie. Then came the final slap in the face, 2 days before the party. My Uncle Tom posted in the family group chat. It's probably for the best Jason's not coming. He hasn't been stable lately. Aunt Susan chimed in right after. Jessica worked so hard on this. Jason would have only made everyone uncomfortable. They weren't just leaving me out. They were erasing me completely. As far as they were concerned, Jessica had already won. Or so she thought. She agreed to meet in what she probably assumed would be some quiet coffee shop. But I chose the Glass House. It's this small cafe tucked behind an old antique bookstore downtown. You walk in and everything's glass and green, bright walls, leafy plants hanging in every corner, soft music humming over the sound of clinking mugs. It felt calm. That's exactly why I picked it. Because I knew peace wasn't going to survive what was about to happen. They came in together just like always. Dad led the way, back straight like a soldier, eyes locked on me with that cold, unreadable stare. Jessica followed close behind, wearing oversized sunglasses indoors. And Mom? She floated somewhere in the middle, glancing around nervously, trying to gauge the mood before anyone spoke. They sat across from me. And without even a hello, Dad opened fire. Jason, let's not waste time. You've done enough damage already. Your sister's been through hell because of you. This stops now. He leaned in, his voice low but sharp like a blade. You're our son, but it's time you own up to what you've done. You've embarrassed this family. Jessica crossed her arms and gave me that smug little smirk like she was royalty. Mom barely whispered, Let's all just talk calmly, please. I didn't blink. I'd been waiting for this moment for months. Without a word, I reached into my bag and pulled out a thick folder. I set it down gently on the table, then pushed it right into the center. Before we play the Who's the Victim game, I said, let's take a look at some facts. Dad rolled his eyes. What is this? He asked. Jason. Receipts, I replied. Calm as ever. I opened the folder. Inside was everything. A clear timeline. Neatly printed records. Bank statements. Invoices for the venue. The catering. Decorations. My name on every last one. I paid for the party, I said, firm and simple. Every single dollar. Jessica hadn't spent a dime. Her mouth went tight. But I kept going. These are the credit card bills I paid off for her last year. These are the bank transfers I sent every single month. I flipped to the next section. When Dad's investments tanked, here are the texts where Jessica asked for help. Real ones, not the fake ones she made up. I tapped on the next page, side-by-side comparisons. One column showed the originals. The other, the fake screenshots she'd created. You went pretty far to build this little fantasy, Jess. Gotta admit, it's impressive. Jessica's face gave her away. Her jaw twitched, and she shifted in her seat like someone sitting on broken glass. But she didn't say a word. Just sat there, eyes flicking to the folder, then to me. Dad's voice broke the silence. He raised it just enough to draw attention from the next table. Enough of this crap, Jason. You're twisting things again. These are just old issues. Misunderstandings. I looked him dead in the eye. Are they? I asked, still calm. My voice was steady, but every word carried weight. Then I pulled a small USB stick from my jacket pocket and held it up between two fingers like a coin. This, I said, is from Jessica's own hard drive. She's not as careful as she thinks. She never deletes anything, not even her little audio experiments. I plugged it into my laptop, turned the screen so they could all see, and hit play. The speakers let out a rough patchwork of sound. Broken voice clips, choppy transitions. My voice, all right, but stitched together like a ransom note. You're worthless, my voice barked. Then suddenly, you ruin everything. The edits were bad. Real bad. Even someone with zero tech knowledge could tell it was fake. Jessica's skin went ghost white. Her eyes widened like she was about to bolt. Then Mom finally spoke. Her voice was soft but serious, like when she used to scold us as kids and you knew she meant business. Jessica, is this true? Jessica blinked. Her mouth opened, then closed. Her lip quivered. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she stammered. He was trying to turn you against me. I had to protect myself. I stared at her. By inventing threats? Dad tried to throw me under the bus again. His old go-to. Jason's always been unstable. You know how sensitive he gets? But Mom cut him off. Her voice cracked, but she stayed firm. No, Mark. No more. She turned to Jessica, her eyes full of disbelief and something else, heartbreak. I've defended you because you're my daughter, she said. But this is twisted. It's sick. Jessica's whole composure shattered. Her cool was gone. She looked like a child caught stealing. Mom, don't do this. Please. You lied, Mom said, tears rising now. You used him. You twisted everything. And we let you. Silence. Not the kind you sit through. This one filled the room like fog. Heavy. Then Jessica stood up. Didn't say another word. Just grabbed her purse, shoved her chair back, and stormed out, nearly knocking over a waiter in the process. Heads turned. A few customers actually gasped. Dad clenched his fists. His face was red with anger, but it looked more like humiliation. You happy now? He hissed. I shook my head. Not happy, I said. Just done. He looked like he wanted to explode, but Mom grabbed his arm before he could say anything else. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she looked at me, not with anger, but with something worse. Regret. Exhaustion. I'm sorry, Jason. I stood up slowly, zipped up my bag. Too late for sorry, I said. And I walked out. Behind me, That pretty little glass cafe sat in ruins, not physically, but emotionally. It had been a peaceful place. Now it was stained with the truth. That meeting was never meant to fix anything. It was a funeral for the lies they built. And it wasn't over, because I knew something important. If I left them standing, they'd regroup. They always did. Lies were like oxygen to them. Cut off the supply, and they'd suffocate. I wasn't leaving any air. 2 days later, I walked into the downtown office of my attorney. Her name was Claire. Cold as steel, brilliant, and completely uninterested in family drama unless she could weaponize it. She didn't offer tea or small talk. Just cleared a space and said, "Show me what you've got." So I did. Every record, every transfer, every falsified message. Years' worth of evidence they never thought I'd gather, because they thought I'd always stay quiet. Claire didn't flinch. She didn't blink. She flipped through the folder like she was reading a grocery list. When she finished, she shut it and said one sentence. "They're going to regret underestimating you." The next morning, the lawsuits started rolling out. One after the other. Identity theft, defamation, financial abuse, wire fraud. Claire called it a legal artillery strike. Jessica got served first. I wish I could have seen her face when she opened that envelope. Apparently, someone filmed her reaction on their phone. She went radio silent on social media within 2 days. Her influencer life vanished into digital dust. Next up was Dad. Claire's team found everything: retirement money he'd funneled through my name, back taxes he never paid, loans he signed pretending to be me. Within a week, the IRS opened a case. And then, oh man, the voicemail started. "You want to destroy your own family? You'll regret this, Jason." I didn't answer. Claire did. All future communication must go through legal counsel. Then came Mom. She broke first. 3 weeks in, she sent me a long email, emotional, full of pleas. "Jason, I know this got out of hand. We're still your parents. We can fix this. You don't have to go this far. Family forgives. Family doesn't punish." Claire responded in one cold sentence. "All negotiations will be handled through our office." By month 2, everything was caving in on them. Jessica was hit with criminal charges, evidence tampering, identity theft, defamation. Her accounts were frozen while the investigation ran its course. Her career? Just like that. The last thing I ever saw from Jessica was a pathetic GoFundMe link she posted and then quickly deleted. No donations. Not one. That silence? That was the real verdict. Dad got hit even harder. The IRS came knocking hard. Fines, penalties, a full audit. Then the state revoked his business license. Banks pulled out, loans defaulted, and the cracks in his empire turned into full-blown collapse. The little real estate kingdom he built on lies and intimidation crumbled like a sandcastle caught in the tide. I heard from a family friend, one of the few who still spoke to me, that he sold his house just to keep the legal sharks off his back. That same house he used to brag about at every holiday, gone in a flash. For years, they'd played puppet masters behind closed doors, so sure I'd stay quiet, stay weak, stay broken. And yeah, they were right once. Not anymore. By the end of the 3rd month, Claire called me with the final update. I was pacing when I picked up, heart already racing. "We're done," she said. Jessica pled guilty. She's not going to prison, but only because we agreed to a plea deal. Heavy fines, permanent financial restrictions. She won't be opening any more influencer brands, I can tell you that. I barely had time to process that before she added, "And your father settled. A large payout. Retroactive compensation for years of fraud done under your name." When the money hit my account, I stared at the screen, hands actually trembling. It wasn't about the dollar amount. It was the silence. For the first time in years, nobody was calling me. No texts. No guilt-tripping voicemails. No frantic manipulation. No noise. Just quiet. They were gone. And I was free. A month later, I walked into the courthouse. No big moment. No speech. Just a quick signature at the clerk's desk and a quiet nod. I officially changed my last name. That old name, the one they'd used like a leash, was gone. It belonged to them now. Let them choke on it. I stepped outside into the morning light, cool and clear, and for the first time since I was a kid, I could actually breathe. My chest felt lighter, like something massive had finally been lifted. I wasn't hiding anymore. They didn't erase me. They forged me. And oddly, it didn't feel like revenge. Or even victory. It felt like silence. And that silence? God, it was beautiful. No more 3 a.m. texts begging for money. No more emotional blackmail wrapped in fake concern. Just me. I met Emily 3 months later, when I wasn't even looking. I was still rebuilding, not just my life, but myself. Trying to figure out who I was without their voices in my head every day. But Emily saw me. Not the broken guy I used to be. Not the villain Jessica made me out to be. Not the disappointment my father used as a punching bag. One night, we were in my new place, my name only on the lease, no backup plans, no cosigners. The city glowed outside the window while she sat cross-legged on my couch, flipping through a folder I hadn't shown anyone else. Everything was in there. The lawsuits. The betrayals. The rebuild. I watched her carefully, afraid of what I'd see. Fear? Disgust? Pity? She looked up and said softly, "You're stronger than any of them ever knew." Then after a beat, "Stronger than you think." And for the first time, I believed it. Time passed. Days turned into months. We built something small and solid. Morning coffee. Late night walks. Deep talks. Dumb jokes. She never made me feel like I had to earn her love. It was just there, quiet, steady, honest. But the past always tries to crawl back. Rot never stays buried. It started small. An email from a weird address. Then a text from a number I didn't recognize. Then more. One after another. Even Jessica. Messages dripping with fake humility. We made mistakes. Let's move forward. Family is forever. You've proven your point. Don't let outsiders poison your blood. That word. Outsiders. They meant Emily. Because she didn't play their game. Because she wasn't one of them. Because she helped me see the truth and never once tried to twist it. They'll keep trying, I said one night, sitting on the balcony with her, the city humming below. Then we'll keep ignoring them, she smiled. And we did. One evening, as summer faded and the leaves started to turn, we walked hand in hand along the riverwalk. It used to be a place I avoided. Too many memories. Too much pain. But it was just a view. Just us. She leaned into me and asked quietly, "Do you ever regret cutting them off?" I thought for a second, then answered without hesitation. No. Because I didn't cut them off. They did that the moment they chose to break me. She squeezed my hand. And they failed. I smiled, not out of bitterness. Not out of spite. Out of peace. That night, my phone buzzed again. Another message. Another plea. I didn't even open it. Instead, I opened my camera and took a picture of us standing there, arms wrapped around each other, smiling under the fading sky. That picture? It captured everything they never understood. Peace isn't something you're given. It's something you fight for. As we walked back toward home, city lights reflecting off the streets, I whispered under my breath, but loud enough for her to hear. They tried to bury me. She turned, a curious smile on her lips. I looked ahead and said it again, this time clear, steady. But I bloomed. And I meant every word.